Hi there, welcome to Fat's Kitchen. I'm getting ready to prepare a roast chicken for Easter Sunday lunch. Now, this chicken is a free-range chicken. I got this from Tamar Chickens, and they are huge. They are between 3 and 3.5 kilograms, so you can feed easily 6 or more people on one chicken. Now, they take a little bit longer to roast. I find it takes between 2 and 2.5 hours to roast such a large chicken, but it is worth the wait. When they are done, they are juicy and succulent and tender. I'm getting ready to prepare a herb garlic butter, which I'm going to stuff under the skin to help marinate the chicken breast while it cooks. So I already have here some chopped garlic and some fresh chopped thyme. And I'm just going to zest a lemon into this butter mixture for additional flavor. Right, there's some lemon rind, and now I'm just going to, it's softened butter, it has to be softened, else you're going to have a problem trying to mix all of this together. I'm going to also just get a little bit of salt, grind some salt, and some pepper. This way, you know, you get a lot of flavor under the skin into the chicken breast. Right, to insert the stuffing, you're going to have to lift the skin and then just loosen the skin from the body like this. Okay, so that you can, and now you're going to take your butter. This is a messy job, but it's worthwhile. And you're just going to stuff it around there. So while the chicken is roasting, all of this is adding flavor to your chicken breast, keeping it nice and moist and juicy, and obviously adding all that extra flavor. Then make sure you then tuck the skin in again. Right, and when we roast a chicken, we also just tuck in the wings like this. I've tucked in both wings already. Right, so I'm going to continue now to flavor the chicken on the outside as well. Right, now using the same softened butter mixture, I'm now going to smear it all over the chicken skin. And I use butter rather than say an olive oil or any other oil to baste the chicken skin, because the milk solids in the butter, they caramelize once you start roasting. And so you get a much better browning of your chicken skin than you would say with an oil. And I'm going to do the other side as well. Right, now I stuff the inside of my chicken because there's a huge cavity in there which is basically just filled with air. So if you stuff that cavity with things, then it creates steam and moisture. Now, you don't want to use this lemon that you previously zested, because the pith of the lemon is very bitter. So this is going to give a bitter flavor. So you can perhaps use that for juice. So I've washed a lemon here. Make sure your lemons are clean. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stuff this half in first. You stuff it nice and deep. And of course, this is just extra flavor again. And I'm going to take a few garlic cloves. I leave them in the skin like this. I just throw them there, a couple of garlic cloves. And then some herbs. Now, I use thyme. I find it's a far better herb to use with a white meat like chicken. It's not overwhelming or overpowering like rosemary would be, for example. If you use too much rosemary, you could use rosemary, but you would use very little, because else you could end up with like a medicinal flavor to your chicken. Okay, so stuffing in lots of, I'll leave some for my potatoes. And then finally, I stuff the other half of the lemon in there. Stuff it in such a way that you almost sort of close this cavity, so you can sort of have everything steaming up inside there. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie the legs together with some cooking twine. You want to keep all the parts, especially the wings, because they will tend to cook faster than the actual breast. So you keep everything nicely close together. You can tie it in such a way that it will be easy to loosen, or you can just cut the string when it's done cooking. Okay. Now you got to make sure that your chicken is well defrosted before you want to put it in. You don't want to put an ice cold chicken in the oven. So in the morning when you wake up, take your chicken out of the refrigerator. A chicken like this takes nearly 2 days to defrost if it's frozen. So make sure you take it out a few days before the time, leave it in the refrigerator. And then the morning that you're going to prepare it, you're going to take it out of the refrigerator so that it can come to room temperature, so you don't throw this ice cold chicken into the oven. Right, so I'm getting ready to prepare the vegetables. I roast the chicken with the vegetables, starting with some onions. You want to get a really large onion, it's got some thyme on, and cut it into thick rounds. And I've got 4 rounds here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm then going to place my chicken, rest it on the onion, so it's sort of off of the surface. And then I've already peeled some carrots and some potatoes, and I have here some individual cloves. So I'm going to, my carrots are ready. You leave the carrots whole because the cooking, it's in the oven for 2 hours, so it's got a lot of cooking time. So just put the carrots like this in whole, scatter them around the place. This gives the gravy a really delicious flavor. Right, so I've chopped up my potatoes, and you'll see I've left them in rather large chunks. So if you have large potatoes, it's fine to just chop them up into quarters, because of course the cooking time is so extended, you don't want your potatoes to cook to mash. So they're rather large chunks, so you throw them around your chicken. Another tip as well, because it's such a big chicken, you get out your biggest roasting pan. So first check that your roasting pan actually fits in your oven if you have a very small oven. So you're obviously going to have to select a roasting pan that will fit in your oven as well, but at the same time your chicken will fit in it, as it's not going to be too large. Right, so those are the potatoes. Now I also have here whole garlic, and they're in the skin. This one actually, the skin came off there. You leave them in the skin because during the cooking time, which is of course long, if they get caught on the sides or the bottom and they burn, they're going to give your sauce a very bitter flavor. So we leave them in the skins, and it's actually quite delicious when they've been cooking inside the skin, and when you take them out the oven, you can squeeze the garlic out. It's absolutely divine. So remember, whole garlic in the skin, and you just scatter that around the chicken. And then of course we have some of our herbs that have been washed. They're also going to go in with the potatoes and the carrots and the garlic. Okay, over my potatoes, I'm going to pour, I'm using olive oil, but you could use a sunflower oil. I'm going to pour this over the potatoes. This is what's going to help the potatoes to brown at a later stage when you start browning the chicken. Okay, and this also helps the salt and pepper to stick to the chicken. Sorry, to the potatoes. Okay, so I'm going to just season all around now. I'm going to salt the potatoes, and you can also put extra. It's nice to have a nice salty skin. You can salt the skin nicely as well, and then some pepper over my potatoes as well. A little bit over the potatoes, and a little bit over the chicken. It sticks to the butter. Right, then I have here about a cup of water, and I'm going to add I've got a powdered chicken stock, but what you can do if you've got the stock cubes, you can just beforehand, you can dissolve the chicken stock cube. Right, so once you've got your chicken stock dissolved, I'm now going to add wine. This is a white wine. Got about 400 milliliters of liquid. Now, in the initial, I'm going to pour this now into the bottom of the roasting pan. The initial stages of cooking, this is going to create steam, and this steam is also then going to help cook your chicken, because we're going to create a tent. I'm going to cover the chicken with foil, make a nice seal, make a good tent, and then we're going to first cook it for about an hour and a half with a foil over. Allow then, you know, everything to mingle, to evaporate, the alcohol, the water, and all of that's going to then cook the entire chicken. And then when we have about the last hour of cooking time to go, we remove the foil and then we brown everything. Okay, so everything is nice and sealed. I'm now going to place it in my preheated oven. The oven is at 200 degrees Celsius and stays at that temperature for the entire cooking period. In the meantime, of course, you can get on with other things. You can go and wash your hair, you can set the table, or hide the Easter eggs for the children while the chicken and the vegetables are in the oven. So the chicken's been in the oven for an hour and 15 minutes, and the aromas in this kitchen are just heavenly, from the wine and the garlic and the thyme. Now you'll see the chicken won't be browned that much because obviously it's been covered in the tent. Remember, at 200 degrees Celsius you're going to evaporate all your alcohol. So if you're worried about putting wine inside your chicken, all that alcohol evaporates and all you're really left with are just the natural flavors of the wine. So it's going to go back in the oven now, and this is now where everything is going to really crisp up and toast and go brown. The chicken and the potatoes. So it'll be in the oven for probably another hour. In about half an hour, I'm going to turn the chicken just to brown the back of the chicken, and then turn it back again to make sure the breast is nice and toasted. So it's back in the oven with this chicken for another half an hour. Flip it over. Right, so as you can see, the chicken is beautifully browned, and I'm going to let this chicken rest a little bit. What I did do is I did take the potatoes out, and I've got them in a separate dish just to brown them a little bit more. They didn't brown enough. So thanks to Tamar Chickens for these wonderfully juicy, large chickens that you can feed a whole family with. And I will see you hopefully soon with another chicken recipe that was passed down from my grandmother, and we'll do a tutorial on that. Thank you, bye-bye.